The North East has a strong history of radical action in the course of social justice, not accepting our fate but organising and struggling for change. In the 19th century, men and women from across the region worked together for the right to vote, with mass protests through the cities and political meetings held in cafes and led by the Chartists, including George Binns from Sunderland. People from our region, such as Joseph Cowan from Newcastle and James Field Stansfield from Sunderland, were leaders in the anti-slavery movement. With public meetings, boycotts of products and runaway slaves welcomed into people's homes. The freed slave Frederick Douglass, who lived for a time in Newcastle, expressed a key principle of community organising when he said, "Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will." In the 1930s, local people from South Shields, especially conscientious white sailors, stood shoulder to shoulder with Arab sailors, supporting their struggle for employment rights and equal job opportunities on the Tyne. The Jarrah March in 1936 saw more than 200 men walk to London with their MP, Ellen Wilkinson, to protest against the closure of the shipyards in Sunderland and on the Tyne. These people were fighting for their jobs, their dignity, their wages, and against poverty. Alongside shipbuilding, coal mining was at the heart of the industrial landscape of the North East for generations. Politically, the miners' strikes of the 1980s challenged the traditional roles of Durham women and changed the politics of the North East women's lives. To this day, the annual Durham Miners' Gala is probably the most significant gathering of workers anywhere in Europe. We have always been a welcoming community to people fleeing for their lives. In the 1930s, we welcomed children fleeing the Spanish Civil War. Today we welcome young people escaping the horror of war in Syria. Last year, Tyne and We Are Citizens welcomed the first child refugee from Calais to the North East. In our own age, Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks called on us to join the ongoing struggle against racism and poverty, and both of them were trained in the method of community organising used today by Citizens UK. The story of Tyne and We Are Citizens began in January 2014 with a conference on developing a stronger voice at the Centre for Life in Newcastle. Citizens UK were invited to make a presentation and over 150 people attended the event. Impressed by the opportunity to reweave the fabric of civil society, several people agreed to meet monthly with community organisers from Citizens UK with the aim of forming a local-based alliance. In December 2015, over 100 people packed the Mining Institute to celebrate the North East's history of protest and struggle, and to recognise the generous support of the founding partners of Tyne and We Are Citizens, which are the Roman Catholic Diocese of Hexham and Newcastle, the Anglican Diocese of Durham, the Institute of Social Renewal and the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences of Newcastle University, the Newcastle Quakers and the Anglican Diocese of Newcastle. In October 2016, we appointed our first community organiser, Sarah Bryson, who works to develop leaders within our member organisations and grow the power of our alliance through the organised action we take around key issues. Member institutions are drawn from a broad base of civil society, education, faith groups and community organisations. It is their membership dues, together with the support of our partners, that pays for the community organiser and the leadership training programmes. In May 2017, we launched our first listening campaign. Over the summer we had over 1,900 face-to-face conversations with people in schools, church halls, community centres and mosques to identify the everyday problems people are facing in Tyne and We Are. These issues were discussed and voted on at our Delegates Assembly in September, when more than 160 representatives of all 27 member organisations met to decide on our agenda for action. The Assembly chose 3 issues to campaign on: mental health, hate crime and poverty. Since then, action teams have worked to refine our issues into winnable asks to put to the relevant decision makers at our launch assembly. We, the people of the North East, have had to fight for all our modern gains. We have many battles ahead, but we need to be organised. Tyne and We Are Citizens is bringing a broader alliance together to fight for social justice and the common good. Welcome to the launch of Tyne and We Are Citizens.